How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the Post 20 podcast. You're listening to episode 81. I think this is the first one I opened up for a long ass time, but it is a special one because, as always, I am with my co host, Evan, but we have a guest, a recurring guest, first one in a while, my brother, Zach. Yeah, what's going on, Zach? How you doing?
I'm not dead. Hello.
Yeah, you're still killing the game. We just got back from a round of golf out there. Like Zach said before we started the recording, mediocre round. There was like good moments and bad, but more bad than good. But that's usually how a golf round goes. Um, yeah, I guess getting into the overview of the episode. Obviously, the Euros are going on. There's been a lot of great matchups so far, a lot of surprising ones. But we are going to go group by group from A to F, the six groups, breaking down each game, what we saw, what we liked, maybe some things we predicted or things that we did not. But is there anything you guys want to add before we dive into it?
No, I'm ready to rock. Let's go.
All right, so Group A opened up play with Italy beating Turkey 3-0. A lot of people had Turkey finishing in second in their breakdowns for predictions, but both of us, I think, had them finishing
Last,
dead
right?
last.
Yeah.
And so far, 0 goals for, 5 against. I mean, I would love to say I'm proud to have predicted that because that's one thing I can say I did good rather than a lot of the other stuff that we obviously did not predict.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple good players on Turkey. You have your boy Yokuşlu. Remember at the beginning or like the middle of the season, you said that guy was an absolute demon.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that are getting regular reps in the Prem. Soyuncu being one of them.
hmm
Calhanoglu obviously plays in Serie A, but this Italian team has so much more quality. You're getting a
Yeah.
solid performance from Immobile and Insigne every time you put them in. Guys like Locatelli have become heroes. Really, he scored two in another game we'll talk about, but Immobile and Insigne both scoring in this one, and then Demiral putting one. This is actually the one that opened the scoring. He put one into his own net, and Turkey really
hmm
just didn't ever get into this game. It looked like Italy came out firing; they were ready to go. This game was in Rome, so I think this kind of went how we all would have expected it to go. Did you guys have anything to say about individual player performances? I thought Immobile was good.
What do you think, Zach?
Turkey sucks.
Yeah, they do. They suck. I agree.
Yeah, I mean the following game when they played Wales, Gareth Bale picked him apart like he was De Bruyne. He was playing through balls perfectly, and Aaron Ramsey was doing great runs in behind. The midfield was just not tracking him down, and eventually he did get on the score sheet, which is never a good sign because they'll curse that somebody dies the next day. But there were no headlines after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wales are doing well. I think Evan, you predicted them to finish second, and so far you're spot on. It
Yeah.
just all depends on how they do against Italy in that last group stage match. But Gareth Bale's been pretty much holding the brunt of the weight for Wales this tournament, like he should be. Dan James is playing a good role. Aaron Ramsey's doing okay. Um, now that Joe Allen's back in the main media, he's having transfer rumors to Premier League teams, which doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, Switzerland, the other team in the group, has done a mediocre job. Xhaka with the bleach blonde hair is just not working for him.
He needs to go
Uh,
away
yeah,
permanently.
yeah. Switzerland are just looking like an average team that are just scraping to get by, and it showed in their first match against Wales, the 1-1 draw. They had the game with the opening goal, and then the following 10 to 15 minutes, they just, like a lot of teams do, they played conservatively. Um, I mean, their next match is a must win against Turkey, right?
Yeah, for sure. I just don't, I don't see Turkey like really competing for anything here. They're going to
Yeah.
be one of those teams that just gets knocked out. We do have the expansion of the tournament, so you're going to see some third place teams go through, but I just don't see Turkey being one of those teams, and I'm excited to not have to watch them anymore because they just haven't competed so far.
Yeah. Zach, do you see do you see three teams getting out of this group to the knockout stage?
If Switzerland loses, or if Switzerland and Turkey lose again, probably not.
Yeah.
Well, The thing
There's
is, they
gonna
play each
be
other. They're the last
Oh,
match, so
well, there you
I would
go.
think if Switzerland wins that game, they're in because I think we were saying in the car ride to golf earlier. I think 4 points is guaranteed to move on.
Yeah. So you may see Switzerland come through, but I
Depends
don't
on the
know.
goal difference. They're both negative.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
but
true.
yeah, but if it stays this way, Evan predicted it perfectly, which is a good start to there.
We love that.
Moving on, Group B, pretty much going how we thought. Well, I shouldn't say that because this is the group. We got Belgium leading the way, 6 points. Everybody predicted that. They're moving on clearly. De Bruyne put on an absolute show in their most recent match against Denmark.
Yep.
Russia and Finland both tied for second with 3 points.
Hold on,
Finland with
I gotta interrupt you here. Group B is not going how we thought it would. Somebody fucking died in the first game.
That's why I said. That's why I was getting to there. I was just saying. Like,
he
it was
literally
going-
was dead.
Yeah, I guess that was what we should open with the whole Ericsson moment. That was.
Yeah.
I know you were live tweeting it. It was one of the scariest moments in sports
Yeah.
for the longest time. Just the way it happened. It was just out of nowhere. A man, 29 years old, physically fit, prime peak of his life there,
Mhm.
physically just having a cardiac arrest on the field is a very scary thing because it puts into perspective that it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
So the good thing is today, as of today, June 18th, he was discharged from the hospital.
Mhm.
He's already met with his team, and it seems that he'll be able to move on and live a normal life again. Hopefully, he can get back into the gym within the coming weeks and kind of work his way back into match fitness for the club season in the end of the summer.
Yeah, I mean, it was truly one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen happen live on television. I've seen some heinous shit. I mean, we've all been on Rotten.com and Live Leak. I've seen people be beheaded, but that shit, man. Like, just watching somebody that you've grown up playing with, when you don't know there's something like that coming, it's a harrowing experience, and it was awful. I mean, when I saw them start to do chest compressions, and you saw Simone Kjaer like reach into his mouth to make sure that he didn't swallow his tongue. Things were truly put into perspective, and you saw the team gather around him to shield him from the prying cameras. It was extremely challenging to watch, a moment that will stick with not only me but a ton of not even soccer fans, just sports fans in general. The world watches when the Euros are on, even countries that aren't competing. Obviously, you have America. Huge viewership numbers, and I didn't see a single person that wasn't absolutely appalled and shocked at the way that it was covered, and everything that was going on the pitch. So it's really nice to hear that Eriksson is recovering, and he did get released today. We saw that. I'm hoping, to be honest with you, I hope he takes his bag and retires, because what happened on that pitch, and I bet you there's a good chance that he will. With heart conditions like that, you never know when that shit could crop back up, and you never know if you have one in the first place. Doesn't matter how good of health you are. The heart essentially runs on electricity, and if you have a short, it can kill you. So we'll have to see. I would not be shocked if Eriksson never plays a moment ever again.
What do you think about that, Zach? What do you think his next move should be?
Well, the event as a whole, something significant happened if American media is talking about soccer.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty big. I don't
I
know.
thought
It'll be
it
pretty
was.
sad if he retires.
Yeah, I mean, he's 29. I think he's got a couple more years in him because they were saying Daley Blind had the same procedure himself.
Yeah, he did,
and
actually. I remember
he's
that.
still carrying on with his career, but it depends individual to individual. But I thought it was interesting the Danish coach coming out and saying post match after they finished the game later that day that they couldn't postpone that game due to a cardiac arrest on the field from a player, but a COVID protocol can easily move something behind like that.
How obscene is that? How ridiculous is that?
Yeah,
I saw the same thing. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Someone was dead there.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit the narrative, and it's along the same lines with the racial abuse, that type of thing. Just it does not fit that particular narrative, so they're not going to follow through with the proper protocol. But I mean, at the end of the day, it worked out because he's alive. He's
Yeah.
okay. It could have turned totally bad. He could have, like you said, he could have literally died on that field, and
Yeah.
everybody would have been absolutely just scarred for the rest of their lives, which they
Literally
have
scarred.
been.
Yeah. Scarred.
So, but I mean, it hasn't turned out their way following that. They obviously lost that match to Finland 1-0, shockingly, and then obviously against Belgium, they had the lead second minute, which I'll bring up with Belgium going forward. Their defense, if they play in the knockout round, if they eventually play Italy, which they could be in the round of 16 or the quarterfinals, a team that is much better at the press and has a lot more explosive players going forward. Their defenders in Belgium cannot pass out of the back, and it showed with Poulsen in the second minute getting a steal from Denaire, and then just a nice slot in. They could get buried 2-3-0 from those mistakes, and they need to be really careful moving forward.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But it's anybody's game finishing in second right now with Russia and Finland tied on points, and I believe Finland plays Belgium last, right, and then Russia Denmark.
Yes.
I mean, there still is a case where Denmark can finish second.
Yeah, this is a tighter group than I thought it would originally be. So, there's a couple different scenarios that could pan out here. So I'm interested to see how it pans out. I think the St. Petersburg home advantage thing is big for Russia, but we'll see.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that with Group A with Italy having 2 home matches in Italy, like
Mhm.
and England as well. Like
Yeah,
those are
it's
very
huge.
big advantages, especially with like 20,000 people at the game. Um, moving on to Group C with another group it's been very interesting to watch. We have Netherlands on 6 points; they are automatically through now. Ukraine putting in good performances on 3.
Mhm.
Austria as well 3, and then North Macedonia finishing where everybody thought. Um, they have been scoring.
Yeah,
They've scored.
Pandev.
Yeah, he's their goat.
Mhm.
But their game, like I said earlier, before the recording, the Ukraine North Macedonia match was awesome to watch. Both goalkeepers making incredible saves, questionable VAR decisions, and I mean, ultimately, Yarmolenko has been coming out of his shell. That guy has been on form,
Yeah, he
uh,
has.
falling out of ranks in West Ham.
Mhm.
And then Austria's kind of on the teeter-totter. Arnautovic got a 1-match ban because of his celebration against, I think, Austria.
Yep.
Or I mean, Ukraine, right?
Yep, I'm
I forget
fucking
which
your
game it was.
Albanian mother. Yep, that's what he said. Big.
Is that what he said?
Yep, that's
I
always
d-
big. Always good for xenophobia. Just pop it out there. Fuck it.
So he's gonna miss their last match, and Alaba's put in some good performances, but also there was one moment, I think it was off a throw-in. He let the ball bounce surprisingly, and then the other team went the other way and scored. I think that was when they played Netherlands.
Yeah.
But Netherlands also been good going forward. I thought they've been having great passing sequences involving all the players. Dumfries getting on the score sheet. It's always nice getting your fullbacks involved, but this is a pretty standard way how we thought it was going to go. Is there anything else that you guys saw that stuck out?
Not really. I mean, you've pretty much covered the bases. In this group, that Netherlands Ukraine game, the 3-2 barn burner, probably the best game so far for me. That was a couple days ago now. So entertaining. Like you said, Yarmolenko has really kind of like made this resurgence in the past couple days. It's been really interesting to watch. But Wijnaldum, good performance from him in that game. And then you had a couple of the other guys. Weghorst scored, and then Dumfries. Dumfries been really solid. Scored in both of the Netherlands matches so far. They played again yesterday. He was the one to score the second to Depay's first. And the Netherlands look better than I thought they would. We were a little bit worried about them. And they do have, some issues defensively. I think having Timber and Blind isn't necessarily the best backline that you could have. Of course, you could have VVD if he was healthy. But that midfield and the way that Depay and Weghorst play together has been really solid. De Roon, Wijnaldum, and obviously Frankie de Jong, great players, all three of them. And Weghorst and Depay have been putting in some pretty solid shifts. So it was good to see Netherlands beat the Ukraine. But I think Ukraine certainly, they're not done yet. They definitely have some life.
Well, it's all going to come down to that last matchup against Austria to decide who finishes second. So,
Yeah.
who would you say is your favorite in that matchup, Zach?
Uh, is Yarmolenko healthy?
Yep.
Yeah,
He's good.
Yeah.
he's got a goal in each game so far.
Well, if he's healthy, I think Yarmolenko carries them to the win.
I think
Yeah,
that's
you
fair.
yeah, Ukraine can definitely secure an upset here and potentially knock Austria out of the tournament, which would be a little surprising in the group. But
Yeah.
anything can happen in these Euros, obviously.
The truth.
I mean, we saw in the last Euros, Wales got to the semifinals, so
Nope.
anything is possible. All right, moving on to Group D, which has to the Czech Republic as of right now. Their match just finished. They drew Croatia, excuse me, 1-1. They sit on top with 4 points, leaving England in second with their 1-0 win over Croatia. And their match starts in about 20 minutes against Scotland, which should be very interesting because I think if Scotland could get a point out of this game, they can really set themselves up for a great matchup against Croatia in the last match day to send them into the knockout round. But I mean, obviously England are a huge favorite in this, right? Like, I don't really see what options Scotland has going forward.
So here's what I'll tell you. I saw an interesting stat this morning. In all international meetings, there have been 89. England have won 47. Scotland have 40, and there's been 2 draws.
Oh wow,
That's unreal. That is
Big rut.
so shocking to me.
it
So
was always an outright winner.
yeah, so I could certainly see, an upset coming or an upset possible. I think it's a little different now because England obviously has one of the, if not the best talented teams in the tournament. You're seeing the sort of performances they're getting out of their young players. Bellingham looked great in the first game. Foden looked fantastic as well. Obviously, almost scored in that first game. And you're getting performances out of older guys. Sterling being one of them. He was the one that lifted them over Croatia, who they were eliminated by in the semifinals of the 2018 World Cup. So you're getting play from all of these different guys. You have a pretty solid team defensively. Of course, you do have Pickford, which is a problem, but I don't know how they're going to pan out in this game against Scotland. I could kind of see it going either way, which I know may sound silly, but who knows?
I agree.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Croatia? They're kind of having a little collapse there. Do you think it's the age? Do you think it's just their chemistry, or what could it possibly be?
Well, I'm going to go first, and then I'll let Zach give his opinion. But I think Croatia caught lightning in a bottle a little bit at the 2018 World Cup. Things came together. Modric was in his prime. You had other players giving you over performances. This Croatia team now, I just don't think has it. You're not getting enough out of your younger guys, Orsic being one of those guys that I look to overperform and give a really solid offensive shift. A great player for Dynamo Zagreb. It's those guys that I think you need to count on for, dynamic play and upset potential, and they don't have that. They look flat, and you can't come out flat against that England team right now because they're just going to fucking punish you with pace and foot skill, and you're never going to get out from underneath them if they start to get on top.
You got anything else to add, Zach?
I don't really watch as religiously as you do to provide that much insight,
Yeah.
but I think it lies in the youth. I think people are still hyping up like guys like Modric and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
And
the
sorry,
teams
yeah,
around
Karen.
them, the teams around them are just progressing better
Yeah, of course.
talent wise.
Yeah, I think that's that. You don't really need to read into it any more than that. A,
Fairly simple.
a nation as big as England or as big as some of these other European countries, they're going to have a bigger player base to draw from, and Croatia is a tiny little country on the coast of, I think, the Mediterranean, or is it the Adriatic? I don't remember. But the amount of players they can draw from is not huge. Two of your best players are Rakitic and Modric, and they're in their 30s at this point.
Same
So
with Perisic.
yeah, Perisic as well. He scored today, but those guys are old, and even their younger players are kind of old. So I just don't think Croatia are really up to the task right now as much as they were in the 2018 World Cup, and I think we could still see them maybe pull through here. Maybe they'll get through if they get another result, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Play devil's advocate there with you about the talent pool with like Czech Republic. They're finding success
Yeah, but
as
do you think that they can actually?
sized nation, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But do you actually think that they could? What if they make it through? Which it looks like they will, by the way. Do you think that they could do anything in quarters? I have no idea. I haven't watched a ton of their games.
At that point,
yeah, that Schick guy has scored twice, right?
Schick's been their guy.
Yeah,
they have,
3.
They have
3?
Kufal.
He's leading right now with 3.
I know they have Kufal and Suchek
Suchek,
from West
too.
Ham there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heavily in my predictions had Czech Republic over. I overcited them. It was just I thought dead last, like nothing to offer. But
Yeah, me too.
they do have key players. I know Mourinho's loving Schick scoring because he's a Roma guy.
Yep.
And the Kufal Suchek West Ham linkage is doing well there too. So
yeah,
they're definitely going to be through unless catastrophe happens against England, because there's a possibility where they get buried 3-4-0 and Croatia buries Scotland, and Croatia could finish in second, giving Czech Republic a third entrance, and they could play like a top team out of any of these groups. So it all depends on this England matchup coming up next, but I definitely think England will win this game and put Scotland out of their misery.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
right,
Lead us on, Matt.
All right, Group E, a favorite for Evan here, especially after today's result.
Yay.
Sweden, top of the group. Not a lot of people had that. 4 points, getting a draw against Spain and a win against Slovakia today, giving them not as much pressure against Poland in a couple of days for their final matchup. Slovakia, though, second place, 3 points over Poland. Poland not doing very well this tournament. Obviously, all the way on Lewandowski. Szczesny giving an own goal. I know Zach said that. Living it up. And then Spain kind of doing exactly what Evan thought. They're crumbling a little bit.
They're frauds.
They're relying heavily on their possession game, because in that first matchup they had a 75% possession against Sweden, sorry. And they just couldn't pull the trigger. I know Morata missed a sitter.
Yep.
There were a couple other chances they had, but I think their main problem is defense. I think their defense is a little shaky. I don't think Laporte's gelled well with that group yet, and a lot of their guys over the years with their experience are gone now. So it's a new regime in there, a lot of youth. Obviously, we talked about England in the last group having a lot of youth, but these guys haven't really played in big matches yet to where they've had pressure on them like this. So Spain plays Poland next. I believe they're tomorrow. They play tomorrow, so they can catch Poland off their balance here and give themselves 4 points, which would be joint with Sweden. So it's a lot of speculation right now, but I'd say out of this group, Sweden's doing a phenomenal job with what they've got.
Yeah, I thought that they would, because they have no other choice. They have to play as a unit, or else they can't get anything done, because the individual skill level is just not as high. You have a lot of younger players, a lot of players that don't play together because they're all spread out across all the leagues. So you have no choice but to play as a unit. It's not like you can play amongst yourselves in these tiny little two-person groups. That some of the other teams, you'll see that happen, right? You'll see like guys that on the England team, guys that are familiar with each other, kind of gel better as a unit in just these like smaller units. This Sweden team, you have to play as a collective unit, otherwise nothing's going to get done. And I think they did that at the 2018 World Cup, and they're doing it again here. That's why I predicted them to go through this group. So it's good to see. They're obviously the team I'm rooting for. It's really nice. Forsberg looks great. You have guys like Ekdal, Berg, really, really solid. Very impressive. So, and about the Spain thing, They're doing exactly what I thought they would. The days of David Silva, David Villa, Fernando Torres, guys like that that are going to fucking stunt up top, those days are over. You know, you saw Pedri. Pedri looked like a deer in headlights. He was scared. These guys are young. They don't play together. They haven't played together. They're not ready. 2008 Spain, that is a long time ago.
It's true.
We're looking at a totally different scene now. And I don't think Spain are going to be good for another 10 fucking years, dude. Like, I just don't see, unless some of these guys, Ansu Fati is one that I can think of, unless you have guys like that are going to come in and take on a leadership role, I just don't know. I don't know when it's going to be that they get good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that Ibra did not make it to the Euros this summer after coming out of retirement and getting injured?
Why would it be a good thing? I love watching Zlatan play.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying it's
chemistry-wise.
Yeah, Evan,
Chemistry-wise, I mean,
off
I don't
of
know.
Evan's point of
He's older, so I understand why. But I like watching Isak up top for Sweden.
Yeah, he's really good. Huh?
You can tell he's got a lot of good potential.
Yeah.
I liked what you mentioned about the whole unit thing.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that about England. That's a big edge they have over people, that they are pretty much all in the same league.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Because it's kind of interchangeable. Because the Ibra effect is kind of the same as with Portugal. We're going to get to next with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That kind of iconic figure looming over the team, where everything has to be about him and not about the team structure. Where Sweden, this tournament and also in the previous World Cup, they were a unit and they did very well. And they did well in the World Cup, getting to the quarters. And now it's looking like if they play their cards right against Poland, they can get a top seed and get a favorable matchup in the knockout round. So
yeah,
that's why I was asking the whole question. But like you said, it's always nice to get as many superstars in these tournaments as possible, because it's more people that want to watch because they're favorite players in it. So
yeah, I think just to kind of round off that point, the way I see it is you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? If you're going to play a guy like that, you're either going to lose because you tried to shove the ball to him and you got exposed, or you're going to win because you got the ball to him and he did what he does best. So, you're living and dying by the sword. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. Zlatan is older now. I think the chances of them forcing him the ball and him not doing what he used to be able to do with it are higher at this point than they would have been maybe, 8-10 years ago. Well, they're certainly higher.
Right.
So honestly, I might be leaning towards the fact that it might be a good thing that he's not at this tournament.
Yeah, because it could be like Poland, where they tried to force everything to Lewandowski and it just didn't work in their first match. So.
Right, and everybody knows that. Like, Lewandowski is kind of a similar striker figure to Ibra. You know what he can do, and he can do some magical shit. So you know that you need to man-mark the shit out of him with two guys sometimes. And if you try and get him the ball, you're going to turn the ball over. And that's what's happened a lot to Poland.
Yeah. All right. And the final group of death. All these games all these teams, I should say, have only played one match. So there's a lot that can happen. So we're just going to go based off of their first matches. We have Portugal leading the group. Won 3-0 over Hungary. That's pretty much what everybody thought. What we didn't think was, in the fashion it happened, they didn't score until I believe the 82nd minute, but that was after Hungary scored, and it was a VAR offsides. But if that goal would have counted, that would have completely changed the scope of the game. But it did not, and Portugal just had an onslaught of attack, which we all thought was going to happen with the amount of talent they have going forward with Jota, Bruno, and Ronaldo, just to name a few. It was just too much for a team like Hungary. What do you guys think about the way it went?
Which game? I'm sorry, I just got a fucking notification.
The Portugal-Hungary match with just the amount of talent.
That sort of went the way that I thought it would. It took a while for Portugal to heat up. I was kind of expecting them to come out fucking flaming out the gate, and they really didn't. So I thought that was in kind of interesting result. 3-0 is what you would have expected, right? Of
Yep.
course, Penaldo getting on the score sheet with a penalty, but also Rafael Guerrero, Dortmund player, solid
Yep.
player, good inclusion in the squad. Also a goal for him, and this team is actually just unbelievably solid. I didn't know
Yeah.
Pepe was still playing. He's literally 90 years old.
Yeah.
You had Guerrero playing left back in this game and getting all the way up there. He's typically a left mid. Ruben Diaz, amazing, as we've said. We watched him all season. He's fantastic. Semedo, not so great this year for Wolves, but a very solid player nonetheless. And then you have guys like Danilo. Carvalho is an absolute fucking monstrous tank in the middle of the field every time he's on the pitch. And then, you're going to get exactly what you expect out of Bruno Fernandes, Jota, and Ronaldo every game. Bernardo Silva, I thought, was a little flat, but I think that he definitely plays like a more reduced role in this side. That kind of seems to be how he plays everywhere now. Same with City. But he's going to give you a shift. So I thought this was a really good result for Portugal. 3-0 is really what I would have expected. I just thought it came really late. It was a super late onslaught of goals. From the 84th to the 92nd, there was 3 goals scored. You don't see that happen much.
Yeah, Zach, I know you said that Portugal's probably one of your top picks to win the whole thing.
Portugal is definitely my favorite in the tournament, just because of the absolute onslaught up top they have. The only problem is they struggle to get going, like you said, against Hungary. But when they're going, there's not much you can really do,
Yeah, that's true.
especially with an in-form Ronaldo.
Yeah, of course. He's always a major factor, and obviously he broke the record for most goals in European competition now with 11 in the tournament at all time. He'll probably get at least a couple more, especially if they make it through the knockout round. But on the other side, we had probably a final-esque matchup: France versus Germany. Both teams currently in the top 5 world rankings. Went kind of how some people may have thought, but a 1-0 win to France, very low key, but a lot of problems for Germany. They could not break down that French defense. The French defense had pretty much an easy day. There wasn't much they could do with all that pace in the back. But Germany, I think that was the first time Germany's ever lost an opener in the Euros.
Yep.
A lot of people said that, but I mean, if you open up against France, the reigning world champions, I mean, there's not really much you can do.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I want to say about this game is Gnabry as striker, chef's kiss. Didn't do absolutely anything. He did nothing. But it was cool. It's so cool to watch teams like this come out with their lineups, because France and Germany are arguably the most talented football countries in the world right now. Germany has a younger generation now. I can't believe Gosens actually was starting. That was really surprising to me. I thought maybe you would see Leroy Sané, but apparently he has an attitude problem that they don't like, so I don't know. But just look at the lineups. I think that's the first thing you have to do. I would have given the edge to France because I think that they're in hotter international form right now. And they did come through here, but I wouldn't have expected it to be on an own goal, especially from a guy like Hummels, who's been playing that position for that international team for like probably 12 years now. He's been playing for a really long time, so I wasn't necessarily expecting that. But Germany were flat. They couldn't break down that back line. You have Varane, who's arguably the best center back in the world, with Kimpembe and Hernandez and Pavard, who are both unreal and both get a ton of time at Dortmund. They know how, or not Dortmund, Bayern. They know how these German guys play. They play with Muller. They play with Gnabry. They play with Kimmich. They know what these guys are going to do before they do it. And I think that is a huge factor that we oh my God, my eyes like twitching, that we can't leave unchecked.
Yeah. Zach, do you think it's better? Because like a team like Germany, a lot of these players play in their own domestic leagues. Do you think it's good that a lot of that happens, or do you think it's okay for like the U.S., our main squad are pretty much all European based? Do you think it's better to have home soiled players? Or do you think it's better if they go abroad?
I Evan mentioned earlier about all the England guys playing together. I think that's the edge that's an edge that is very beneficial.
Mhm.
But do you mean what do you mean, like where they play or
I
where
think
they're from?
I think what I'm trying to get at is it's best when they all play together all year round.
Yeah,
It's to build the chemistry because the international camps only last a few weeks, like 1 to
right.
2 weeks before the tournament starts.
And
Um,
you mentioned the U.S. with that. They need a lot of training time to get used to playing with each other because they're all
exactly.
spread out, and that's not their fault. You need to play in those top leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's why
tough 'cause
England's
it's
always
tough.
fun to watch because we watch those guys play full seasons every
Mhm.
year against each other, and then watching them play together is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I'd say those English teams they play in a lot more competitions and the season's more stretched out, whereas the MLS is from March to November with the whole playoff setup. If the playoffs weren't even a thing, the season would end in September, October. So, and other than the regular season, they have the MLS Cup, kind of like our League Cup, and then recently teams get involved in the CONCACAF Champions League. So I don't think they play as many games. Obviously, the competition isn't up to that level. It probably won't be for decades, which sucks, but that's what happens with new leagues. You have to establish yourselves and build the foundations of good organizations. And I think the MLS is in that stage where obviously European countries are far ahead of us,
Yeah.
and it shows with the amount of money in the sport over there compared to here. Obviously, that's different because the MLS has a salary cap, whereas the Europeans do what the fuck they want. They have financial fair play, but it doesn't always work out. But at the end of the day, it turns out to be good matches, and you see the best of the best play against and with each other. So it's you have pros and cons, but it ultimately works out best for the viewers. Um, so I mean, I don't know. This group can go any way. It can work out. Right now, I think Portugal could finish top. I mean, they're gonna have an absolute slobber knocker against Germany tomorrow, which is gonna be
Oh yeah.
awesome to watch. I'm sure a lot of people. Well, actually, I saw before the show. I think Portugal are plus 220, where Germany are the favorites,
Whoa.
plus
That
135.
is unbelievable to me.
I might just hop back on FanDuel and take that.
Yeah.
So that might be a
With
low
the
key bet
Ronaldo
right
goal,
there. But
That's
Ronaldo penalty.
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. One more thing, I guess, before we close out. Golden Boot. I've been asking a couple people like the past day or two, like right now, who would be your favorite to win the Golden Boot?
Ronaldo.
If I had to guess,
Yeah.
it will probably
Period.
be Ronaldo because he already has 2 goals. Like having 2 goals already in 2 matches. Have they even played their second match yet?
No,
Nope.
he's gotten 2 and 1.
Yeah. So I mean that literally that's all you need. Like
With
that's
Germany tomorrow.
yeah.
Although Schick has 3 for Czech Republic, and
Yeah,
they're
he
looking like
does.
they're going through.
But you
Yeah,
got to
but
think
they're
how
not gonna.
far these teams are going to go in
Yeah,
the
like
tournament.
Portugal 100%. I'd be willing to put my life that Portugal will wind up going further in the tournament than Czech Republic, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
It all depends on the draw and where they finish in the group. But my pick would be Lukaku. He's been looking incredible going forward. He is so fast. He's in the
He's
best
a
shape of his
demon,
life.
dude. Yeah.
I've been hearing he's on a new diet. He's slimmer. He's
Yeah.
able to move past guys. Like he's so fucking fast, and
He's an
especially
athlete, dude. Straight up.
yeah,
Come
and
back to Chelsea,
especially
maybe?
in there's rumors, but they're just rumors. There's no way he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
If we get him back, that's gonna be it's gonna be over, bro. But I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen to our attackers. We have too much. We got to get some people off the books before we
try
sign.
and get fucking Holland too. He's just gonna sign everyone.
We just extended Giroud's contract for another year, which I don't understand.
So Arsenal can't get him.
It doesn't make sense because he wants to leave. So I
He
mean, I
needs
think
to-
he needs to go because he doesn't get that playing time that he deserves. I mean,
Well,
even this season, like he had 8 to 12 goals this season in his role that he had. It's
You give the
incredible.
man 5 minutes and he fucking scores. Like he doesn't need much to work with. He's unreal. I wish he would come back to Arsenal. I wish they'd offer him a contract. I don't care if he plays 15 minutes a game. That's fine.
He plays club captain.
Fuck it. Yeah, we need it.
Yeah, this year, he had. I'm looking here right now. He had 11. He had 11 goals this season in all competitions. So,
yeah,
and 6 were in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that caps off the recap and what we thought for the Euros so far. Only 20 matches have been played out of a total 51. 45 total goals. Surprisingly, the most goals when you break it down into 15-minute intervals. The 46th to 60th minute window has the most, with 11 goals being scored. Second most is 76th to 90th when those legs are tired with 10. So those are the top areas where teams score goals. But anything can happen in these games. But as we're ending this episode, is the England game is going to start. Is there anything that you guys want to close on?
No, actually, I have a feeling that Scotland's gonna win, dude. Sir Alex
Yeah.
Ferguson is in the house. I'm
Is he?
convinced. Yeah, he's there.
All right.
It's at
I
Wembley.
say
So
I'm gonna go for a draw.
you
Yeah.
think it's going to be a draw?
Uh,
I'm going to think it's the England win.
Okay. I
Evan
think
thinks
Scotland or
it's
draws.
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland or draw. I think that's the move.
I'm gonna go for a draw, and you're gonna see quite a bit of yellow cards.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
Very chippy.
It's going
probably
to be a
true.
very chippy game, definitely. Scotland's been wanting to get the respect they think is due.
Yep.
So, other than that, thank you guys so much for listening. Shorter episode, probably around the 30 to 40-minute mark. But check us out on our socials at Post20Pod, Instagram, Twitter, all of our streaming platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. Visual watchers, hello there. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Check out our YouTube channel, Post20Pod, or Post20, sorry. If you guys want, hit the subscribe button in that bottom right corner of the video. Hit the bell, notifies you whenever we post new episodes, or if we are going live for a stream.
Yeah.
Who knows? But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great week. And then other than that, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Come on, Dylan.
See you guys.
Yeah.